Football is in full swing, ladies and gentlemen, and myself, Joe, and Tony Tucker are going to be talking about all the training camp developments so far right after this quick little break. Okay, someone please tell the people that I did not say that Drew Lock is the GOAT. Someone tell Joe, Tony, can you vouch for me, please?
I think that's what you said.
No. That is the opposite of what I say about Drew Lock.
I have a photographic memory, and on December 17th, 2021, Mike came on another program, the Warzone Sports Network. It was a legendary program back in the day, and said that Drew Lock was the GOAT.
Yep.
Well, all right, Mr. Photographic Memory. What did he do on December 20th that made me say those words?
He came in relief and beat the Chargers for Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah, I knew you'd have something, Tony. Well, I should have known it, at least.
Yeah, I clearly remember that day too, Mike. And you were like, if Drew Lock doesn't make the Hall of Fame by the end of his career, you were going to give up your Charger fandom or something like that.
That does not sound like me at all, and I really want to change the topic. So let's move on. Let's talk about the Bears. They're going crazy in the chat about ROQUAN Smith. The Bears are absolutely falling apart because not only did ROQUAN Smith ask for a trade today, but their offensive line is reportedly struggling more than last year, and they weren't good last year. And the offense in a whole is struggling because of the lack of weapons in the passing game, and that's hurting possibly Justin Fields' development. But let's start with ROQUAN Smith. Everyone's going crazy about this guy, and rightfully so. You talk about the top-tier linebackers in the league. You bring up Darius Leonard. Windy Shitty. You bring up Darius Leonard. You bring up Fred Warner. You bring up those guys, and I think that ROQUAN Smith, as far as his talent, is in the combo with them. If anything, like a half-tier down from the elite middle linebackers in the NFL right now. What's your thoughts on this, Tony? What are you thinking about ROQUAN Smith? Because I got some pretty interesting thoughts on ROQUAN Smith to the Chargers.
Free ROQUAN Smith, 100% get him out of town. Also for the Bears, this is the smartest thing they could do. I saw some cap projection or something where the Bears could end up with like $4 billion to spend heading into next offseason. Now, the free agency market isn't great heading into next year, but still you'll be able to get a better team. They'll have a high draft pick. I'm sure that they can add some sort of a pick for ROQUAN Smith and get him out of there because this Bears team is going to be like potentially like a 2-win team. They're going to be fighting for sure, in my opinion, for the number 1 overall pick next year. And I think ROQUAN Smith is a fantastic football player, and I just want to see him on another team. That's it.
Go ahead, Joe. Let them know what team you want to see him on, Joe. No. Y'all already got Denzel Perryman, Pro Bowler. Did Denzel Perryman get All-Pro last year?
Look, when ROQUAN Smith entered the draft, he was my favorite linebacker that year, and I wanted him to go to the Raiders. And I was like, you know what would be a great combination? ROQUAN Smith and Khalil Mack. Put them on the same team. That'd be awesome, right?
It would be.
Well, they ended up on the same damn team, but just not with the Raiders. Now it's time to bring the linebacker. The Raiders have always been hurting at linebacker, right? Denzel Perryman did a great job last year, always doing his thing. They keep bringing linebackers in to try to fix it. Why not go out there? And the Raiders' assistant general manager used to be where? With the Chicago Bears last year. Come on, you already have that camaraderie and you already know everybody in the building. They brought in former Bears already. Why not bring in one more former Bear?
I like that sentiment, Joe. Why not bring in one more former Bear to Los Angeles? I love that. You see, the Chargers don't need to make this move. We aren't desperate to make a move on a ROQUAN Smith. But when we talk about any little tiny holes that we may have on this team, it's depth at linebacker and right tackle. ROQUAN will obviously be an immediate starter, and the guys that we have as starters right now would fall to depth. And he's perfect for the scheme. What we need in the middle of our defense is a guy that's going to fly around, can impact in the pass coverage game, and just make tackles. The holes are going to get opened up by the D-line. Every D lineman is responsible for opening up a certain gap in our defense for the linebackers to hit and make the tackles. And that's what went wrong in the run defense last year is our linebackers were missing tackles. Roquan is perfect. And I'm going to put out a TikTok tonight on it. If the Chargers get Roquan Smith on this defense, the potential goes from us being like a top 10, top 5 defense in the league today to an all-time level defense. That's how good this guy is. We have an elite player in the middle. We have 2 elite players on the edge. I think Sebastian Joseph Day is going to show y'all something this year in the middle of the defensive line, and we'll have 2 elite players in the secondary. How many defenses have had that kind of talent on one side of the ball? I'll tell you, the Legion of Boom, end of list. I'm just saying, bring them in.
I would go as far as to say the 02 Bucks had that kind of talent, right? Like the Simeon Rice, Warren Sapp, Derek Brooks. Like they were pretty loaded. John Lynch, Barber. That was a loaded defense too. This, Mike, I would love that trade so much because the things that it would shore up in the run game right there and give that last little concern that I have about the defense, it would just put it to bed. Absolutely put it to bed. Now, if he ends up on the Raiders, I no longer am a fan of Roquan Smith. That's just what happens.
I just don't want him to end up on the Chiefs. But you got to remember that he's going to be, I think he's $9.5 million. So somebody with the top salary cap, which Raiders and Chargers both have, can go after him. But to make that move, and then you got to have a draft pick that you're willing to give up or some other stuff that you're willing to give up for that. But I don't know. I see the Raiders saying, boop, 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 boop.
The mentality that the Chargers and the Raiders have had this offseason would signify that they're probably willing to give up almost anything, max price for what a linebacker would cost. Linebackers don't cost that much. Bobby Wagner got cut and just let go because they probably couldn't have found a trade destination for him with his age and with his contract. So linebacker's not going to cost. It might not cost a first-round pick.
No way.
It might not cost a second-round pick. You may be able to get him for a third and something else. And I think Roquan's at the end of his deal, right? So you're going to have to re-sign him also.
Yeah, I think it would be closer to a fourth.
Yeah.
Than anything lower than that. Look at Kaiser White had a great year last year and got a 1-year, $5 million deal from the Eagles. Like exactly. Even Aluakan's deal, which was big for a middle linebacker, it wasn't like earth shattering by any means.
Yeah, and I feel like.
Well, sorry, Mike.
No, go ahead.
There's only one team that I could see coming out of nowhere. Well, not really coming out of nowhere, but one team coming out and saying, "Hey, we want them too," and be the Dallas Cowboys, and they have the room for them as well.
And they've shown value in the linebacker position in the past that they value that position. They want to have a solid guy in the middle.
Somebody go with Parsons.
They've had a weird run because it was like for an 18-month span, they were like linebacker central. They had the Wolf Hunter and Jalen Smith like peaked at the same time, and then they both got injured, and all of a sudden it was just like a wasteland of who was going to be playing middle linebacker.
Yeah, they could be a team that's in the mix. But although, to be fair, I think, like I said, all teams but like a select maybe 5-7 teams could use a huge upgrade in Roquan Smith in the entire league. So who knows? The Bears are going to get a lot of offers on this guy if they put him on the market. Poles has already come out and said it's his priority to try and hold on to Roquan Smith. But it wasn't like we aren't trading him no matter what. It just seems like we're going to try and work on this before the season starts. And if things get worse, Roquan's going to get traded. Anything else on Roquan? Because I got more on the Bears to talk about.
He represents himself, which is interesting, right? Because he said the team doesn't seem interested in helping and make him whole, give him a better contract, but he hasn't heard anything from the owners. So that will be interesting to see if they step in. Before you go on to that, do you know this Joker's Wild?
Yes, I do. I met him at camp, actually. Yeah.
Awesome. Joker, I have an extra JC Jackson poster. And if you subscribe over at the Nuts and Bolts channel and to the MJT football channel, I'd be more than happy to figure out how to send you an extra copy so you could have one.
Nice.
So send Mike your address and I'll figure out how to get it to you.
There you go, Joker. Free poster, JC Jackson. Or maybe we could just meet you at camp. You going to the Cowboys scrimmage, Joker Wild? Let us know in the chat. will be there. Well, at least I think I'll be there. I don't know. Tony, you're going.
They're sold out of tickets, so I don't know how you're going.
I got Jay Fly's ticket.
Okay. I do not.
Don't worry about Mike. The Chargers might not hook Mike up. The Chargers don't care that Mike's a fan, but other Charger fans do.
Yeah. Everyone, go tag the Chargers in my newest TikTok post, or the one that I put up about Roquan tonight. How about that? Put tag them in it.
Do we agree that nobody wants to play in Chicago this year? That it is windy, shitty?
Yeah, that's what I've been talking about. And as far as like Bears fans have been telling me, like, yeah, haha, y'all got Khalil Mack on a steal. Haha, yeah, our defense is falling apart completely. Akeem Hicks is leaving. Robert Quinn wants out. Roquan Smith wants out. But guess what? We're going to have $250 million of cap space next year. Yeah. Well, you still got to sign the players, and you still got to convince them to come play in Chicago. And they don't got a new stadium for like another 5 years or something. So good luck with the cap space. But more struggles out of Bears camp. The O-line, I guess, is struggling massively, and the entire offense as a whole is not doing well. I'm thinking Monty, like David Montgomery impact as far as his fantasy value, Justin Fields' development. Any thoughts on just the Bears looking stinky? I think this team has a serious chance to be selecting number 1 overall. Tony?
I said that during my first rant. I think they're a strong contender for the number 1 overall pick in the next year. And really, it's a great strategy. Like, there is a way to effectively tank, and I think that is what is happening here. And you have so many new components to this team with a young quarterback that, like, it's going to be bad and wonky and whatever. Like Darnell Mooney, who's a player that I really like, but I don't necessarily know that he's going to be the difference maker at wide receiver, right? You know, like, and then you got Cole Kmet, but then after that, if you really look at it, I saw Byron Pringle is injured, and N'Keal Harris, who they traded for, is already injured, and you have a rookie quarterback behind an offensive line that was really bad last year. So, like, I don't have much optimism for the Bears or their fans or anything unless Justin Fields has one of those, like, incredibly sensational years where it's like, oh, they found the guy. And then that means in year 3 that the team is going to be getting crazy hype going into that year.
Joe, are you worried about Justin Fields? Because I am.
I just feel bad for him being on a crappy team. And that offensive line haven't done anything to help him. I know a lot of people are having fun with Justin Fields on TikTok and stuff, and they're like, look, he's already in midseason form, and he's overthrowing open wide receivers at training camp. But I was big on Justin Fields last year coming out of the draft. He got put in a shitty situation. I think he's going to prove a little bit that it's not all on him, and you're going to see that it's mostly the talent around him. But I feel bad. I just hope he can make it through this whole season healthy and ready to go. But I do have one thing for you guys on the Roquan Smith thing, if you guys want to go back to that real quick.
Yeah, I'm good.
So it's saying that he's asking for Darius Leonard type money if he gets traded. And if you guys know, Darius Leonard got 5 years, $99 million, $52 million guaranteed.
I'm sure we could give Keenan Allen, Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack a call and be like, hey, guys, $5 million each. You guys willing to do it?
That's the thing, is that I don't think Staley values that position, and I don't want to get bogged down in just Chargers talk. I don't think there's many teams that value that position like that. Like, if there's no guarantee, Darius Leonard is already having some health concerns, right? I think it was like foot or back problems or whatever. They could easily come to regret that contract because of the nature of that position and how physical it is. Like, this could be a bad contract for them, and I don't think anybody's going to go out and give him $20 million essentially a season to play a position where we now play in a league that's dominated by passing.
Yeah, and there's very few in the league that are good enough in coverage. I think Roquan Smith is one of them, though. It's interesting. All right, where do you guys want to go next? Want to go to New York? Want to go to Tennessee? We can go to Green Bay. What do you guys votes?
Tennessee whiskey. Let's go there.
Your vote, Joe? Let's go to Tennessee. All right. So reports are that Treylon Burks is having a rough camp. First off, obviously, we know the early reports that he was suffering from fatigue in camp the first couple of days. They came out and said that he has asthma issues. Wasn't a great look for Treylon Burks in his first couple of days of working because he had to take breaks from practice. And now reports are coming out that he's struggling with the playbook, not necessarily running the right routes on any given play. Tony, Robert Woods, wide receiver 1 in Tennessee.
I talked about it. I don't know if it was 2 mock drafts ago, but I really like Robert Woods. He's going in like the 8th round of fantasy. But just to stick with Treylon Burks, he was one of my favorite players in the draft. I texted you guys during the combine. I was like, this kid is a beast. Like, he really could be a dominant player in the NFL, but it all has to come together, and it's going to be for a very short period of time. Now, I don't put a ton of stock in the problems that he's having right away, because most of the opportunities for him are going to be near the line of scrimmage, right? So if he's running routes wrong or whatever, they're going to be doing a lot of quick screens to him, maybe handing it off out of the backfield. They're going to get the ball into his hands and be a playmaker. There's no way that you draft him in the first round, trade away A.J. Brown, and you don't get Treylon Burks involved in the game plan whatsoever. Now, is he going to have a full complement of routes to be run? Probably not, right? And with an asthma problem, do you necessarily want him running a bunch of go routes? No, you don't. But I have no doubt that they're going to find ways to get him involved. And I think we are diving a little too much into this hype that he's a bust already. I don't like it.
You agree, Joe?
You think I care if Treylon Burks runs a great route or not? No, because he plays for he plays for Tennessee. Hand the damn ball off to Derrick Henry. Shut the hell up. That's all you're gonna do, Mike. Hand the ball to Derrick Henry, and then hey, if Treylon Burks runs the wrong route, I'll just throw it to him later on. But Derrick Henry's that offense no matter what. This guy, he was the next Deebo Samuel coming out of the draft, right? There's too much hype on these damn young guys. Receivers have always been the ones that have the year that need that first year to develop. And we've been what's it called? Pampered and spoiled the last couple of years with these great wide receivers coming out. And we're expecting every damn wide receiver to be the next Justin Jefferson or whoever the hell, I don't know. Justin Jefferson is the one that comes to mind because he's a badass, right? But everybody expects these guys to perform year one, but wide receivers have always been the one that takes a while to get going.
Yeah, Chase, DK, A.J. Brown, like there was a lot. And a lot of times they end up burying the receivers that don't do good. Jalen Reagor comes to mind. J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. Sorry, Philadelphia, to bring up both of your receivers that didn't pan out. But, like, it happens every year where it's like there's guys that hit right away and some guys take a year or two. They come along nicely. There's a guy right here coming along real nice, everybody.
Bolt up. But I agree with both of you gentlemen on your sentiments here on this Treylon Burks situation. I think it is way too early to judge anything. It's like with Kyle Hamilton when these clips are going out, Kyle Hamilton looking kind of slow. Like it's way too early to judge players off of training camp footage. Remember last year, guys, Jamar Chase was dropping balls, looking slow, looking tired. There was terrible reports out of camp that Jamar Chase was struggling in the NFL so far. Comes out, has probably a top 5 rookie season for a wide receiver in the history of the NFL. Now, I'm not saying that Treylon Burks is Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase is a very special talent, but we can't overreact on camp stuff. But I do like the Robert Woods. Take. Robert Woods is a veteran. Brandon Tannehill is a veteran. Off the play action, I think Tannehill more often than not, Robert Woods is kind of a safe go-to receiver in the offense right now.
And just one last thing on this whole situation, if we're talking fantasy, I think the kid they got from UCLA, I want to say his name's Kyle Phillips.
He's making noise.
He's going to play in the slot. Ryan Tannehill's last year in Miami, I believe it was, where Jarvis Landry had like 120 catches. He only averaged like 7 yards a catch. But I do think that that's a spot where he feels comfortable throwing the ball to. And I think that kid could catch on at some point in the season for a lot of just sort of, 4 catches, 54 yards type stuff. Like just a stable Amendola style player.
Yeah, and like Joe said, obviously, the guy who carries the offense is not the quarterback. It's a rare spot in the NFL. I know we're not used to it. We love talking about receivers. We love talking about quarterbacks. But the offensive line and Derrick Henry are the more important parts of the Tennessee offense. And, of course, they still have a solid defense and a well-built defense over the last couple of years. So Tennessee Titans will be an interesting team to watch this year because I think the Colts are really good too. I think that they could get dethroned a little bit by the Colts, but we will see. Let's go on here. Speaking of receivers, 49ers training camp right now. Trey Lance has kind of been up and down, lots of inconsistent reports. inconsistent days from him. But one guy that all 49ers beat reporters and fans that are going to camp are talking about right now is Brandon Ayuk. They said this guy is turning heads, and he is turning into what they saw his rookie year and expected out of him his rookie year. Obviously, had a rough year last year, was kind of like on the fence of whether or not Shanahan liked him or not. But apparently, even Ayuk has said himself that him and Shanahan's relationship is growing. And I think the talent is there with Ayuk to be a fine receiver in the NFL one day. And he flashed it his rookie year, obviously. Tony, Brandon Ayuk, stock going up. But what do you think about all the reports of Ayuk doing so good in camp instead of, Treylon Burke not doing so good?
So Ayuk is a third-year pro now. He should be coming in, knowing the playbook, and flourishing. And we've already known that the talent is there. He's already flashed in both of the years in the league. He comes from being coached by Herm Edwards, so he already knew how to be a pro, essentially. It was his behavior that slowed him down last year. Because remember at the beginning of the season, he was kind of in the doghouse coming out of camp because he did something we don't really know, to where Kyle Shanahan wasn't playing him the way that he thought. But as soon as he did, if you go back and look at the final weeks of the season, Ayuk was already starting to be the player that a lot of people thought was going to be worth a 4th, 5th round pick in fantasy football. The thing with Ayuk, and that's funny about the 49ers, it just in general, is they have what we consider to be like a running style quarterback or a mobile quarterback, and they're going to have $28 million invested in Debo. And then if Ayuk goes off this year, now do you keep him? He's going to want money heading into year 4, saying like, hey, I think I'm worthy of a new contract. I just had 95 catches, 1,100 yards, and 8 touchdowns. If it panned out, they would be screwed in back-to-back seasons with receivers saying, hey, I need some money. Give me that Fedia, Holmes. I want it. I want to get paid.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how they're going to manage that because Trey Lance, like you said, is not really pass first as of right now. Maybe he'll come out and show something this year, though. Joe, any opinions on Ayuk you want to add?
Well, I come from a time because I know a lot of 49er fans, and I remember when they were all bragging about Ayuk when he got drafted, and nobody knew who Deebo Samuel was, and nobody cared about Deebo Samuel. Then he came out and nowhere. But Brandon Ayuk was supposed to be the savior of this 49er empire, right? And he's proven to be the guy. He just took 1 year. What we were talking about, receivers take a while to get there. But Brandon Ayuk, the last couple of years, have been putting up great stats. 60 catches, 56 last year, 700 yards, 800 yards, 5 touchdowns. He's the actual wide receiver that they need in there, and he's going to do his thing in San Francisco. And I think he's going to outperform Deebo Samuel, and people are going to regret that Deebo Samuel contract.
What the hell are you guys talking about in the chat? Out your damn minds. But anyways, yeah, I think that Brandon Ayuk has a chance to be really good. I really want to see him get more work out the slot. He's been used outside a lot. He's been used in the slot a lot. I think that he's going to thrive in the slot. So hopefully he can be their top-notch slot wide receiver. I love those formations where they have Deebo Samuel out wide, Ayuk in the slot, and then you can have George Kittle at tight end there on the line. You got a dangerous weapon core coming at you at full speed with the threat of Trey Lance taking off with the football if you find a way to cover all those guys. So it'll be a fun offense to watch, I think, this year, as long as Trey Lance isn't just like an awful passer, because this guy can run the ball for sure. There's no doubt about that.
Well, one last thing on the Debo thing. They built in incentives for him to want to run the football, right? Like if he gets so many carries, it's a bonus. If he gets 325 yards, it's a bonus. If he gets 4 or 6 rushing touchdowns, it's a bonus. So like he's still going to be used in that fashion. Those are going to be touches that they're going to be getting for Debo there. Vote up!
Yeah, I think that Deebo Samuel's energy on that take changed real quick. He's like, no, I want to do what's best for the team now because it has some incentives.
You fill up my bank account like that, and I'm like, yeah, whatever you need, coach. Whatever you need. Huh? Run through that wall right there, no problem.
There's only one guy I'm worried about in San Francisco, and that's the guy right there in the middle of that graphic. Can he get it done?
Yeah, is his seat hot at all?
No. Kyle Shanahan is untouchable. He's the son of Marlon Brando. He's Sonny Corleone. There's nothing you can do to him. I'm sure I just totally dropped, messed up a Godfather reference there for anybody who remembers. But he's not going anywhere. There's no way he's gone. John Lynch, now he might not pan out, but I just don't think that they move on from him.
San Fran, man, they gotta win one. They've had too many talented teams over the last couple of years.
Yeah, but
Too bad this year isn't their year.
It's all Jimmy G's fault.
I don't like that thought process at all, because you have only one team can win it every year. And you get to an NFC Championship game and a Super Bowl, you're doing something right. You're at least motivating the team and keeping them focused. That year where they had the gap, that was the year where they lost like 8 players in training camp to season-ending injuries.
Yeah, I'm with you. I hear you. I just wanted to bring up the topic since we were talking about it. Anyways, on to the next city. Let's go to here. I got a whole list.
Well, everybody's talking about this one, Mike. They bringing it up in their own chat right now, and that's your wide receiver in Green Bay.
Yeah, let's talk about Green Bay. Actually, I got a couple of things here, reports out of camps that I've read. Big one is wide receiver that's standing out is not Allen Lazard. The wide receiver that's standing out is not Christian Watson or Sammy Watkins, because they're not even playing right now. They're down to injury. The wide receiver that's standing out is Romeo Doubs, a rookie that most people probably don't even really know about if you're not like a diehard NFL fan. Tony, anything to look at here with Romeo Doubs? Did you watch any of his stuff in college? Because I haven't really watched too much.
I watched a little bit of it, but he wasn't somebody that I was hoping they would target. I wanted Alex Pierce. Doesn't matter. Romeo Doubs is perfect. One, the name, right? Romeo, there's going to be tons of Shakespeare quotes, so it's good for branding. Last name pronounced Dubs, right? We got touchdowns. And Aaron Rodgers is the kind of person where it's like, I want to prove you wrong. You think I've never worked out well with rookie wide receivers. You think this about me. You think it takes a long time to develop. Watch this. Watch this kid who I think is special, and I have the ability to make a wide receiver great. Like, I think that's something that Aaron would never say, but privately is going, I want people to know that I helped Devontae Adams be Devontae Adams. Because the guys that he was working with before, and he kind of did that with Jordy Nelson, but Greg Jennings had already arrived with Favre, right? He was already on his way there. Rodgers adapted to Donald Driver and Jordy Nelson, and then Adams rose up the ranks. I think that Aaron Rodgers would like everybody to know, I create receivers. I bring out the best in them. And maybe Romeo will be that guy, and we'll have some fun. It'll be a good time.
Yeah, they talk about it. Oh, that's crazy. But Joker, yeah, let's call it right now. But yeah, a lot of people talk about with the NBA, can you make your teammates better? If Aaron Rodgers does it for like a third straight receiver core, it's like a different era once again.
Joker. I got your back. Dubs over Adams, right here.
Dubs over Adams. But yeah, if Aaron Rodgers does it again, like he did it with Jordy Nelson, kind of with Devontae Adams, talented guys, but second round wide receivers, they weren't necessarily the best out of their draft class in the years that they were drafted. But if he does it again, I think that'll cement it, like that he does make wide receivers. Joe, any thoughts on Romeo Doubs? I thought it was Dobbs this whole time.
What are we talking about? We're talking about practice? We're talking about practice here? Practice? Romeo Doubs, some fourth-round scrub that we want to talk about because Aaron Rodgers is trying to make him look good because he makes 2 or 3 great catches at practice, 2 or 3 great catches against some 4th or 5th string guy who's probably going to get cut, and we're like already bowing down to Romeo Doubs because of what he does at practice. Come on. What's one of his weaknesses coming out of the draft? He's going to have trouble releasing from the press defenders. Press his ass. Don't let him get deep on you and you're done with him. Then we don't have to worry about Romeo Doubs anymore.
I think, Joe, you took that comment personally that Joker left, huh?
You did.
There's only one cornerback in the league that Romeo Doubs can burn, and that's J.C. Jackson.
Oh, here we go.
Let's not make it personal.
There ain't no reason to go that way. There ain't no reason to go. Okay, Joe, well, who do you think is wide receiver 1 in Green Bay right now?
I wanted to say Allen Lazard so bad because he trashes Lazard all the time, and I know he doesn't. I know. Look at his face. I know he won't say it out loud right now.
Come on, say it. It's Aaron Jones, huh?
It's Randall Cobb.
Draft Randall Cobb. You heard it here first. All right, let's go from receivers. Let's go from receivers to quarterbacks. That was great. But I think that some of this might be just a little bit of overhype from the Packers themselves. But there's reports that Jordan Love is lighting it up in camp and that he's come into his development and he's about to enter his prime. All of this stuff is being put out on the internet right now. I don't know where it's coming from. It's coming from Packers beat writers, but is the coaches, talking to these beat writers and giving them this info, and they're just putting it onto paper and we're reading it, or what's going on? But should a team trade for Jordan Love? Some teams that I look at, the Giants we're going to talk about next, the Seahawks, maybe other teams that might be interested in a young quarterback and take a chance on Jordan Love, who was a former first-round pick still. Keep that in mind. Someone that had high potential in the same draft as Joe Burrow, Tua, and Justin Herbert. I think he was the fourth quarterback picked in that draft. Tony, thoughts on Jordan Love? Lighten up camp, apparently.
So is this is year 3 or 4 for him?
Same year as Herb, so 3.
Yeah. So year 3. So I honestly think that their best, if they really believe this, then at the end of the year, they will be doing the 5th-year option deal or whatever. They'll pick it up and they'll say, he's the guy. We have Rodgers under contract for another 2 seasons. Everybody thinks that's where he's going to play. I don't think it's going to happen. If they don't believe it, then they're hoping, because they just announced he's going to start the first preseason game. If he falls out of control and somebody comes and says, hey, we'll give you a 3rd-round pick for Jordan Love to bring him in now to our team, then I don't believe it. Then I don't think he's that dude. I think all of this is smoke that's being put out there. But if they keep him around and he's performing in preseason, because that's really all we're going to see, all we expect to see from him until Aaron Rodgers is gone. But why not keep him there? And maybe you get lucky. Maybe you go from Favre to Rodgers to Love. And that would be unprecedented that you could go from that, have that luck at quarterback, 3 generations in a row.
I mean, Rodgers did sit a couple years, didn't he?
Yeah, he didn't play till year 4, I believe.
Kind of a similar situation.
Just won 1 Super Bowl. That's it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I thought 1 Super Bowl was very valuable, Joe, because I hear a lot about Super Bowls from you.
Well, what was the knock on Jordan Love coming out of college? Is that he needed to sit for a couple of years, that he was a developmental quarterback. Green Bay reached on him in the 1st round, but they wanted him, and they knew that Aaron Rodgers was going to be there for a while. And I don't know why they were pushing him. I think everybody was pushing him because they knew that Aaron Rodgers was doing that unretirement bullshit that he was trying to do. And that's why there was so much pressure on him. But Jordan Love was coming into the league, was already a developmental quarterback that needed 3 or 4 years to sit on the bench behind Aaron Rodgers. So if the reports are right that he is doing good, then everybody was right about him in the draft, that it was going to take a while. And why not? Like Tony said, if they trade him right away in the preseason, then it's all bullshit. Then it's all smokescreen. But if they hold on to him, because have you guys been watching the Aaron Rodgers? He was on some podcast, and you guys have been watching him this offseason. I think he's done. And the way he's talking and saying all this, they have to keep Jordan Love or have a backup quarterback ready to go.
I think he's checking out mentally a little bit, Joe. I do believe that. I think a lot of these guys are. Brady missed camp for personal reasons or whatever the other day. I can't ever remember Tom Brady, and he's earned it. 25,000 years in the league. You can miss training camp or whatever. I just don't know of these guys to be talking so much about non-football stuff or after football stuff. They just never have done it. They're still great. Both teams are going to make the playoffs, but it does feel different.
What is this? Curry sexual. We're talking about the Green Bay Packers right now, my friend, but J.C. Jackson was only good in the Patriots defense. I want you to do me a favor, Curry sexual. Go to your YouTube right now after you're done with this live. Right now, after you're done with this live, doesn't make sense. After this live is over, go to your YouTube and type in J.C. Jackson training camp highlights, and look how many come up. He's not just doing good in New England, my friend. I would go and check it out. He's picking off Justin Herbert. What's your opinion on Justin Herbert? Is he overrated also? Anyways, yeah, I agree with both of you. I think that Jordan Love is most likely staying put in Green Bay until after Aaron Rodgers is done. But it is fun to speculate because if he did get traded, that would really be bad for Jimmy Garoppolo because there is a limited amount of jobs where people are looking for a quarterback. But maybe if, like I said, New York are really hating Daniel Jones, they don't trust Tyrod, which I think they're just going to, if they need to, they'll just go to Tyrod. But let's move on to New York. Let's go to New York.
Hold on a second, Mike. Oh. I started a bunch of J.C. Jackson hate in the comments, and I love it. But I wanted to mention this comment right here. I don't know how to say that name, but He's asking if there's any hooligan fanatics in football and basketball in the United States, just like in Europe, where they light up flares and stuff. Look at Buffalo Bills fans if you want to see that. It's probably the craziest. But no, I don't think America has ever seen any fans like the soccer fans across the seas. And people were freaking out at SoFi last weekend when they had a soccer game with the
LAFC
LA Football Club, and they had flares going in SoFi. Did you see that?
Yeah. So I've been saying this, and my family on my wife's side, they really like soccer. They follow soccer really closely. Actually, huge LAFC fans. I have jerseys through them from LAFC. And some of those games, when I'm watching them and I'm watching them on TV, I'm like, if they did this at a football game, they would all be arrested. All of them. These people are crazy. They're throwing beer bottles, doing all kinds of. I'm all about passion, but I'm also all about violence not equivalating to fandom.
Yeah, it's soccer or football or whatever I'm supposed to be calling it is different. It's way different globally. Like I remember, we've seen some stuff happen in Colombia. That dude who scored a goal on himself and then he disappeared from the face of the earth. Like they take stuff differently in other countries. So yeah, I don't think we have any fandom like that anywhere.
You think going to Oakland back in the day with 49er gear or Charger gear or something like that was bad? Try doing that across the seas in another football.
I mean, fans riot a little bit. Like after some of those Lakers wins, downtown got a little burnt up, got a little, some stuff smashed or whatever. But not like, look at this. Boda said, I'll burn some shit down. Let the Cleveland Browns win a championship. Unless did you go to Carolina with Baker in that trade?
I see baby blue in the logo.
Yeah, let me know. Like, are you on to, you just follow Baker wherever he goes? Because I'm with that. I'm okay with that. But I just want to know, are you still a Browns fan or did we?
Yeah, which team are you rooting for? All right, on to New York, finally. Daniel Jones apparently is really struggling in camp. And I've seen some clips. I haven't seen any like real tape on it, but I've seen some clips where it's been like same thing with Justin Fields. Daniel Jones is in midseason form and he just throws the ball straight at the ground, throws it right into the freaking the players standing on the sidelines. Daniel Jones apparently is struggling in Brian Daboll's new offense so far, and Tyrod Taylor is thriving. Tony, I know you have something to say about this.
I do. I always have something to say. Tyrod Taylor he's a great pros pro. He's had a string of terrible luck, right? He gets injured in Cleveland. Baker comes in, wins that football game, and they turn it over to Baker. He goes to the Chargers. He wins week 1. He gets the unfortunate incident with the doctor. Herbert comes in, wins Rookie of the Year. Every time since his days in Buffalo where he had a chance to win a job and just be a serviceable starter. I'm not saying he's a franchise guy that you got to build your organization around, but he is competent and he's going to run the offense effectively. Tyrod Taylor will be the starter of the New York Giants no later than week 4 of the season. Not sure if I spelled anything right. Don't be spell checking me out there. Webster's Dictionary. That is going up on the board after the show. Danny Dimes, he's making these bad throws in training camp, but beyond that, he does it in the games in the regular season. We've seen it where we're like, where was that going to? And it just hits the linebacker right in the chest. And you're like, how could you make that read or how could you do that? And Daniel Jones will be a serviceable backup in the league, I think, for a long time. But it is time for Tyrod Taylor to take the New York Giants on a little run, have some fun this year, dust the Cowboys.
Joe, are you also ready? Are you also ready for a Tyrod Taylor take of him starting and putting it on the board? Huh?
Let me tell you something. If you're a New York Football Giants fan, you want Tyrod Taylor to start week 1. Why? Because when Tyrod Taylor starts for your team week 1, that means you have a franchise quarterback coming week 2.
Is there anyone in there?
Everywhere Tyrod goes, the quarterback after him plays great. Look at the last one. Our man Davis Mills lighting it up for Houston. You got who else did it? Yeah, Justin Herbert after the needle situation. Tyrod Taylor leads you to the franchise dynasty of quarterbacks. So yes, you want to root for Tyrod to take over.
So there's another quarterback.
Josh Allen. Josh Allen in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Josh
So there's
Allen,
another
Baker
quarterback
Mayfield.
on the roster, Joe. That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing there's some practice squad, Matt Barkley or somebody who's actually the friend because it's not Daniel Jones. I just don't see it.
Maybe, Tony, this is where our topics could tie together. Giants, trade for Jordan Love, sit him behind Tyrod for 2 weeks, let him go. Bada boom. Brian Daboll, best coach of all time because he's the one that traded for Jordan Love, but still started Tyrod, and it worked out.
Is there any other quarterback in history that's gotten more hyped up than Tyrod Taylor? Like, come on. Like, this dude got cut like 4 times, and everywhere he's been, it's like, oh, he's going to lead us to the promised land, and then he's gone by week 4. Like, you're saying he's going to start by week 4? Tony, he's going to be done by week 4.
Why are you – what happened? Did someone put something in your cereal this morning? You were just ready to go today, Joe.
Real men don't eat cereal, Mike.
You got the hook. You're like, get them out of here right now.
I wake up and I eat cold pizza off the counter. That's what I do.
All right, so Joe, I'm asking you the same question I asked earlier. Who's the QB1 of the Giants?
Danny Dimes.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
wow. Number 8, getting an extension in New York after the season.
Well, I'll tell you who Tyrod starting would benefit a lot. It would be Saquon Barkley. And Saquon Barkley apparently is thriving in camp right now, but we've heard this before, obviously. They say he's looking healthy, and some coaches and some staff at the podium have already said that he is looking like he's in the best shape of his life. And to me, that means better shape than rookie year, better shape than college. Tony, I think we're all already high on Saquon, but what's your thoughts on these reports?
I want Saquon to be good so bad. Like, I've been waiting for it to be fun to watch, to be able to hit those home runs, sort of Barry Sanders-esque, where it's like, oh no, it's a 3-yard loss. Shit, it's a 76-yard touchdown. Like, I want those plays to happen. This could be one of the greatest, what are they like? Just stealing the bag. He gets one healthy season right before a contract year. Cause I think they didn't pick up the 5th-year option, or they did, or whatever it is. Like, he's due to be getting some money soon. And then there it is. He just comes in, plays 16 games this year. Saquon Barkley gets paid. Now, running backs don't get paid a ton, but if he could get a 2-3-year deal with, $8 to $12 million guaranteed somewhere next year, and let it be in a fun situation. Like, don't be in New York again next year. Let somebody else sign him. That's good. Let him go play with, like, what's a fun NFC team that we
Philadelphia.
There it is, taking over from Miles Sanders, stays in the division. That'd be great.
There you go. We just made it up.
So I'm starting to believe in Barkley a little bit more and more each and every day, and the stuff that's coming out of camp on him. He had a very bad injuries, and I think he's going to finally be 100%. In my mind, I've actually started taking him in fantasy drafts. If you guys noticed in the last couple mock draft Mondays that we've done, I don't know if you know or if you pay attention to Giants camp, but they just had a huge ass fight the other day. Huge fight. And it was because of Barkley, because they said Barkley was too rough in camp. And I'm going to show you the clip because I pulled it up just to show you guys.
Hell yeah.
So that started the fight right there because they said Barkley lowered it and went after his own teammate. That started a big old fight with I think the offensive line coach was involved and all that stuff. Barkley right there won me over. I was like, yep, that's my guy.
There was a photo of like a DB trying to drag an offensive lineman off the field too. It was kind of a funny picture that came from that. It's like a small guy trying to drag a big guy across the field. But yeah, I'm in on Barkley just because his ADP is lowering so much. Now the risk is worth it. And if he does pop off and become what he was, you just got to steal for where you can get him at as far as fantasy football goes. The question is obviously health. If he can stay healthy, he's got all the talent in the world. I think the Giants' offensive line is solid. They're not terrible. They're not great. They're not terrible. And like you said, Tony, Barkley does have that ability to, even if you get one guy on him per play, he's probably going to break at least one tackle per play. And that leaves him a lot of space to go if the offensive line and the fullbacks and just the coordination in the offense is better than it was in previous years with the previous head coaching staffs, which it can't be much worse in my opinion. So,
Yeah, with Saquon, it's like not really that impressive between the tackles. Like I don't remember too many great plays like that at Penn State than to this time early on with the Giants when he was healthy. I just exciting players, you want to see him play. Like I don't want to see him go through his career and then it's like, oh, it was just injuries and we didn't really get to see anything. Like I root for all of these young people to reach their potential and be as great as they possibly can. And he's definitely one that I would love to see have that sort of season where he gets to say, I told you so. I told you I could do it. I could stay healthy and I could get you 1,700 all-purpose yards. And that would be great for Tyrod Taylor taking over as the Giants starter.
And see, and I think the biggest news coming out of camp is how good Kadarius Toney's looking. And then they have another wide receiver that everybody's blowing up right now is Wan'Dale Robinson, because Darius Slayton's taking third and fourth string reps now. That's the top guy that you're going to see on a new team. He's probably going to get cut or traded. So I think I don't know. And then Kenny Galladay's crap anyways. But
what is he doing? I haven't heard anything about Kenny Galladay.
Nothing. Matthew Stafford made that dude, and now he's nothing. But I'm just saying, like, Giants, if Danny Dimes is doing this bad and like everybody's saying, then why is everybody else hyping up their wide receivers?
Yeah, Galladay kind of got screwed over because his play style is very much like go up and get the ball. And you need a quarterback that's going to put the ball in the right spot for that to be successful in tight coverage. He doesn't get very much separation. So Stafford's a guy that can do it. You go to Daniel Jones, and he's not quite the guy that can do it. Or, Mike Glennon last year.
Mike Glennon.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, go ahead,
I just
Tony.
want to say real quick, Joe, to be clear, I'm not down on Danny Dimes because of preseason stuff. The same way I feel about the rookies is the same way I feel about the veterans. I'm worried about Daniel Jones based on the last 3 years of football that I watched.
There's only one person taking Danny Dimes down, and that's the 20-yard line.
No, I'm with you 100%. I've been fighting with Giants fans over the last couple of years, and now I don't have to fight with them anymore. I don't know what happened. They stopped fighting with me.
They know.
They figured it out, I think.
Yep.
All right, let's go to Dallas, Joe. I know you've been waiting to talk about this one. So the Cowboys cut Greg Zuerlein after a rough year last year. I think the Dallas fan base was demanding it. Well, the Dallas fan base didn't realize that all the kickers that have any value in the NFL or any experience in the NFL are all already signed to rosters and are all already doing their thing on rosters. There's reports that they tried out 4 kickers today, I think 2 yesterday, and there's a rumor that they have up to 12 kickers on a list lined up until they can find their guy. We're talking about the Cowboys trying out soccer players here any day now. Odell is healing right now, but maybe they might need him to go kick. Also, there was a highlight of, I think it was N'Keal Harry or someone in Bears camp kicking field goals. So who knows? They might trade for a wide receiver to kick. But Cowboys kicker situation. Me and Tony both know how much bad special teams can hurt a team, especially a team that relies on scoring a shit ton of points like the Cowboys do. Tony, is this like a panic from the Cowboys, like scrambling? We need a kicker. We got a game in 5 weeks.
Vizcaino to the rescue. You guys can have
no.
Good news for you. This is more just continues to stack my concern for the Cowboys this offseason and how it's gone for them. It just hasn't been good. And now we're getting to the point where it's like you have kicker issues. Like, I just cannot see Mike McCarthy lasting very long. I see the Cowboys struggling to like a 9-win season. And that's with Dak playing like some real, 5,000 yards passing MVP caliber football if they could only win more games type stuff. I'm not sure how the stuff with Zeke is going to go down. CD as like the number 1. They're missing destroying. Yeah, put them in there.
If you're going to have a bad kicker, you might as well have a bad kicker that also is a millionaire from YouTube. All right, come on.
They're genius. Giving out thousands at practice to anybody who can beat him.
Yeah.
Gallup's out for a little bit. Didn't somebody else, one of their other receivers, was hurt too? So now you got a rookie, Jalen Tolbert, looking to get some serious reps early on in the season. You're hoping that Dalton Schultz can duplicate what he did. This is just more bad news. It's not just them trying to try out kickers.
Yeah, the Dallas offense and just ability to score in general did not improve this year. That's for sure. Definitely got worse. They're probably really banking on CeeDee Lamb to jump to the elite level. Joe, Go ahead.
I love it. Not only is Dallas not going to score touchdowns, they're not going to kick field goals either. That's amazing. The Dallas Cowboy fans deserve everything that comes to them. And if it means missing field goals to win games, I love it. I love anything that holds the Dallas Cowboys back. It's not like they're a great team anyways, right? It's not like we're expecting them to go off and win 10 games. The Dallas Cowboys probably going to be the third best team in the NFC least. And now they're hurting at kicking. They might be behind Danny Dimes. Let Danny Dimes come over and kick some field goals for you, I guess. Look, the best kicker is already in Las Vegas. We already know that. Now, if you want to be the Chargers of the NFC, then keep looking for kickers.
The Chargers of the NFC. Our kicker went 32 of 35 or some shit, Joe. All right, we have a kicker. His name's D-Hop, and he's the best kicker in the AFC West. I don't care about Buttlicker and Daniel Carlson.
He's going to be the best D-Hop in the league weeks 1 through 6, Joe.
Exactly. But yeah, the Cowboys are in trouble with this kicker situation. I mean, hopefully for my Cowboy fandom's sake that they find something serviceable. This is an interesting situation. And someone corrected me in my chat over here. They said it was Justin Reed, safety for the Kansas City Chiefs right now, kicked a 65-yard field goal in practice. So go ahead. He's not, everyone keeps telling me that he's going to be this great safety. Maybe his calling is kicking the ball. That might be his calling. Get him over there. The Chiefs already got a kicker. Get him over in Dallas and let him kick. They also might use some safety help. He could be like a dual safety and kicker, both of them.
They've struggled at safety since.
Hey, Chad Ochocinco, what is he doing? He can kick some field goals.
That's true. I like the destroying idea. Destroying with the Dallas star on his head. If it works out, then wow, what a story. If it doesn't work out, well, then that's kind of what we expected to happen. You can go ahead and try out 20 more kickers.
Look, to be honest, well, go ahead, Tony.
I was just going to say what's going to be funny is Jerry afterwards talking to people about kickers. If they cost them football games, Jerry's getting a little loose with it already. I've heard him saying some stuff this year. I'm like, nobody tell him that wasn't PC. He's 78. He's a billionaire. He doesn't even care what he's saying on the microphone right now. Like, just let the man go.
Let it rip, Jerry Jones.
To be honest, they look, Cowboy fans, don't worry about it. Keep watching training camps. Somebody's going to release a kicker too early, and he's going to not hit his prime, just like the Minnesota Vikings did with Daniel Carlson. Just to let you know that there's great kickers in other camps that not going to – every camp has about 2 or 3 kickers in there right now. You could find one by the end of this preseason. Yeah,
and that's probably their problem. That's why they're scrambling so much and bringing in all these random kickers. It's probably because, like I said at the beginning of the topic, to go full circle with it, Joe, I'm very impressed that everyone has kickers on their training camp rosters. Like, everyone has 2 or 3. So there's 90 kickers deep in the NFL right now, and the Cowboys are scraping that 100 to 120. Yeah. Great stuff. Anyways, New Orleans. On to New Orleans. We almost got to the end here. Oh, Tony, you got one more thing?
Nope, I was just getting distracted by 999 Morris here.
Hey, Morris. What do you say? Oh, Raiders will be second in the division with 12-5 record. That means that the Chargers are first at 14-3. I like it.
And then Curry Sexual said 999 is from the future.
Yeah, he predicts the future. Anyways, on to New Orleans. The guy that was one of my favorite wide receivers in the league when he was in his prime with Drew Brees, Mike Thomas, is, I guess, back. That's what everyone's saying at camp. It is practice, as Joe was saying earlier, but I'm already bought in on Mike Thomas if Jameis Winston is healthy. But Tony, are you?
Yes, I am. Now, is he going to be Mike Thomas that we remember from that time? Definitely not. We're never going to see can't guard Mike. We're going to see more like you can kind of guard Mike at what, like, he just needs to switch his handle up a little bit. So it's like, I'm okay, Mike Thomas. It's the offense is still going to be good. I feel okay about the offensive line, right? Like, I don't know who they replaced. The guy who went to Armstead, who went to Miami. The game will be good. I think Chris Olave stretches the field. Oh, yeah, they did draft Penning. That's not going so great. But I think it'll be fine eventually. And they'll play good defense. So what do they need? Somebody to move the chains on offense. And Mike Thomas, I think, if anything, he is tired of people making fun of him. the butt of the joke. And he wants to come out here and just let it rip.
Basically, Tony's saying that it's going to be third and Mike Thomas. Tony, you're glitching out a little bit, but I know what you're saying. But third and Mike Thomas, going to start the catchphrase, making T-shirts right now. Joe, third and Mike Thomas, pump for it?
No, stop that. Look, let me tell you guys something about Mike Thomas. Mike Thomas is now the third best wide receiver on the New Orleans Saints, behind Olave, behind Jarvis Landry. And look, Slant Boy can do all he wants. He doesn't have to worry about being the one that starts fights at Saints practice, right? They got their rookie doing that for him. So I don't know. We've never doubted Michael Thomas's skill sets. We've doubted his passion to play over the last couple of years because we think that some of the injuries he dragged out a little bit. Do I think that he was actually hurt? Yes. But do I think he didn't want to come back because he was questioning? Yeah, because every wide receiver in the league is a diva and they go through their own little problems. I don't know. It's a fresh start. Maybe he had an issue with Sean Payton, and maybe that's why he's back, because Dennis Allen is now the head coach in New Orleans, and maybe that was his big issue was Sean Payton. But I would like to see Michael Thomas come back, but let's lower the expectations of Michael Thomas being Michael Thomas. He's going to be like the Mike Thomas who plays for the New York Jets or whatever.
He played for the Bengals for a little while. But I think that he's going to return to form. I think that he's motivated, too, based off the interviews that I've heard from him and the camera reports that are coming out. And like you guys are saying, I mean, we're all like prime Mike Thomas in his best year holds the record for most receptions in a season. No one's expecting him to go back to that with Jameis Winston at quarterback. But I really love what the Saints have in this passing attack. It is going to be interesting. Last time Jameis Winston had this many weapons, I think that he has more weapons now than he did before with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. But last time they had anywhere close to this many weapons, he did throw for 5,000 yards and 30 touchdowns. I know there was 30 interceptions also, but he did throw for 30 touchdowns, 5,000 yards. In my mind, 1,200 of those yards could go to number 13 out wide.
Winston's already hurt, though. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did see that. I hope that that's not serious because they don't really have a backup plan. I think Ian Book is next up after that.
Just wait till Gardner Johnson gets in Mike Thomas's face during practice, and it's on. Slant boy, come on.
They also have Alvin Kamara out the backfield, who still waiting on a suspension.
They got your boy. They got Tony Jones Jr. or whatever it is. Jones Jr.
Tony Jones Jr.
Yeah.
Tony Jones Jr. is not doing – he's not doing great in camp, though, actually, Tony.
Yeah, he's not excelling. They got big trust. Woot woot. Mark Ingram is there for, his final run in the NFL. I can't wait for that guy to get behind a microphone and get hired by somebody. He's going to be very entertaining. The Saints are going to be fine. I don't know how much of what I was ranting about before got on. Mike Thomas is in for a very good year. And the Saints, I think, they might be my surprise team in the NFC to win their division.
Ooh.
Yeah. I haven't fully put together all my list yet, but I'm leaning towards that being my surprise team in the NFC.
I'm stealing Joe's catchphrases today. Put it on the board, Tony. Put it on the board.
You fading something or what?
Oh, put the Saints winning the division on the board. I think it's be the Bucks.
Oh, though. I thought you were saying fade because Joe loves to fade things. This year it's the Cardinals.
He fades the Saints. Yeah, he faded the Saints last year. He's fading the Cardinals this year.
Well, hey, you know what? I do have something to say about the Cardinals. Something pretty damn cool. But give me 1 second. So I've been fading the Cardinals all year. Fade the Cardinals. I still fade the Cardinals, but I saw something really cool that Kyle Murray did, and I want to shout him out because I've been giving him a hard time this whole offseason. There's a little kid at training camp, at Cardinals training camp. I don't know if you guys have seen the video. If you guys want to go look up the video, you guys can find it. Some asshole stole this dude's jersey, stole this little kid's jersey. It was signed by Kyle Murray. He was taken it to training camp and got signed a couple times, but some asshole, there's always those dick fans that show up and steal stuff. Stole this kid's jersey. This kid broke down crying at training camp. Well, Kyler Murray found out about it, sent this dude an autographed jersey from everybody on the team, hooked that kid up. And so, yes, I've been fading the Arizona Cardinals. I'm still going to fade the Arizona Cardinals, but I got to give credit where credit's due, and that's a class act from him.
I love it, Joe. Turning on Kyler just in time for you to take over that dynasty team where Kyler's the quarterback. I love it, Joe. I love it.
That'll be the first trade he'll make. He'll get Kyler out of there and start Justin Fields on that team. I love that. I love to hear things like that. I wish we talked more about those kind of stories. For some reason, they don't end up in my timeline. I get videos of Trevor Penning fighting with people. Like,
you see the interview from him in college that came up with the clips of him fighting people?
No.
They were asking all of the players on the team. They were like, "What is your favorite part of the game of football?" And everyone was giving answers like very, very passionate about football because it did this for my life. Very passionate about football because of the fans. Very passionate about football because of the life lessons that it's taught me. They asked Trevor Penning, you know what he said? He said, "I love football because I can go out there every weekend and legally assault people."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's scary. That's terrifying.
Some Richie Incognito shit right there.
Since we're talking about training camp, I have one more video I want to show you guys, and maybe you guys have seen this. I don't know if Tony's seen this one. It's not going to be the greatest, guys, because I just cut it up right now as I was talking. That's why I was like, hey, I need a few minutes. But is this a rookie that you're going to be hyped on this year? So that's the defensive tackle Jordan Davis right there at Eagles camp. Of course, going against a third, fourth string guy. A couple of veterans have come out and said that's a practice guy. You're not going to see him do that against some of the big time guards in the league, but still impressive as it is.
Yeah, let that come out that was Jason Kelsey or something, and then Jordan Davis is going to be getting all kinds of hype. But I am in on Jordan Davis because, and we talked about it when we were doing our draft shows, our pre-draft shows and everything, that if you landed in a perfect situation like Baltimore or Philadelphia where there's really good D-lines already there for him to learn from, this guy was going to develop into a monster, and I still feel that way. And I feel like with Fletcher Cox there, Brendan Graham there, and then they brought in Hassan Reddick, he has plenty of guys to look up to as examples because that's really what the knock is with him, is just really fine-tuning his game and getting in shape. So I think that he's in a perfect situation. I do have hype for him. He's probably going to have a good rookie year.
Yeah, I think he's in a great division to do it too.
I love it. Ever since he said the video where he was like, I want to my goal is to look like Aaron Donald. I was like, okay. He at least says he wants to work hard. I've heard positive things come out. He's got great leadership around him. Eagles are winning that division. Sorry, Inky. It's happening.
You guys think Aaron Donald can dunk?
Yeah.
Probably. 6'4".
The guy's an animal.
Super strong.
I mean,
I can dunk. Yeah. He can dunk.
It's a good deal. It's a good mindset to try and get into Aaron Donald's shape from Jordan Davis, but there are some people where I go that might not be possible.
I don't think it's possible. I'm not saying he's going to do it. I like the mindset, right?
Like the mentality of it. Well, all right. Unless you guys want to talk about Chargers.
Mike, you had this video up there, right? On your TikTok?
I do not have that video. I've heard about this, though, that it was pretty physical and there was some heat there. So I need to check it out.
And then, of course, Derek Carr's the answer here. Derek Carr over Kyler Murray all day.
Yeah, Omar's getting in here trying to get any love for the
Joe.
Cardinals.
Live on the air right now. If I can get Derek Carr off of the guy's roster who kind of just stole him off free agency when no one was paying attention, and I get him on my roster, will you trade me Kyler Murray for Derek Carr straight up?
In fantasy?
Yeah.
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 I will have that deal done tonight.
Why wouldn't I?
In your inbox by tomorrow. All right.
I don't even know if I'm officially in that league. But.
All right. We'll talk about it off air. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Wait, do you guys want to talk about the Chargers?
I just want to hang on a second. I'm trying to report a robbery, Mike. I'm trying to report a robbery.
You know how my trades go, Tony. You know how my trades go. But Derek Carr's got all those weapons. Anyways, Chargers. Only things out of Chargers camp is one that Mac and Bosa are reportedly already becoming best friends, which I love to see. You love to see some chemistry on your defensive line from your two elite pass rushers, one who you just brought in via trade. But the other thing is Sean Merriman has been brought in to help train these guys. Personally, I don't want Sean Merriman as a full-time coach just because I think he's way, way too busy to actually dedicate himself to being a full-time coach. But it is scary to see him running drills, like, all right, come here, Khalil Mack, you go up. All right, next up, Joey Bosa, and he's training. Tony, your thoughts, Sean Merriman helping the Chargers pass rush, and then Joe, I'll let you go ahead and spew some shit out of your mouth.
It's all in fun. It's great to have guys like that around that were amazing at the position and everything else. Like, I think Bosa and Mac are better than he was.
Same person.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
so I mean, yes, you can always learn, and there might have been things that he did that he could teach them or whatever, but I think it's just nice to be around other great players and pick up whatever you can and have something to be exciting. It's something a little different because you're out there in practice every day. It's 105 degrees, pads on, running around, people screaming your name that give you nightmares, like Joey said in that video. I love it. I'm all for it.
Yeah, and Bosa was saying at the podium the other day, he was saying that, like, it's pretty special that me and Khalil Mack have teamed up because Khalil Mack has a whole different arsenal of pass rush moves that I don't really use in my game that he's showing me how to use in my game, and I have a whole arsenal of pass rush moves that I'm showing him that he doesn't typically use in his game. They're both very explosive pass rushers, but different in a lot of ways, and they're learning from each other. Joe, go ahead. Tell us your opinion.
I'm just saying, if you're going to bring in Sean Merriman, you might as well bring in fucking Brian Cushing as well. If you want to get PED guys in there, maybe he can hook him up, give him his source or something. I don't know. If that's what you guys want, if that's what you need, some enhancements to help your team get better, go ahead.
I knew it was going to be something. And the other thing out of Chargers camp is the Derwin James contract. Me and Tony have talked this thing to death on Nuts and Bolts. By the way, plugging ourselves here. If you guys want to listen to some All Chargers talk, go to the Nuts and Bolts YouTube channel and subscribe real quick. But I just want to hear your opinion, Joe, on the Derwin James contract extension. The Chargers should do it 100%, right?
Yeah, you need to. Derwin James, when healthy on the field, is one of the best safeties in the league, and you got to pay your players. Pay your players.
I love it.
If your player deserves it, you got to play it. You got to pay him. So pay him.
100% agree. Tony, you agree with him?
I do. I mean, he sounded like a Chargers fan. The only thing is that terrible hat that he has on.
No, if no matter what, if Derwin James is on another team, you got to sign. You got to sign your guys. Like, none of us like that Jamal Adams got signed, but Jamal Adams getting signed by Seattle, but they had to sign their guy. That's the guy you invest in. That's who you're going to promote over the next couple of years. Sign your dudes.
Yeah, but it's different because Derwin James is really good at football.
He's not a linebacker trying to play safety.
Yeah, I was about to say, you don't have to say that he's one of the best in the league. He's the best in the league.
The Henry Rugg jokes are not funny, guys.
Yeah, I've seen some pretty bad Henry Ruggs jokes.
I think the problem is that Jamal Adams is a linebacker trying to play safety, as to where Derwin James is a safety who can play linebacker, and there's a huge difference between those two.
Decided to show up. Look who decided to show up. That's the Sean Merriman one right there.
Is that what Sean Merriman's teaching you guys in practice at training camp?
Well, we could do this one.
Wait, who's stealing bow and arrows? Is that what Crosby does?
That's Crosby, yeah. By the way, I was at that preseason game, and everyone kept texting me, how impressed are you with the Raiders backups? And I was like, oh, yeah, very impressed with the backups. But the whole team was, like, hyped. I was impressed. The whole team was hyped up on the sideline, all gathered around where the ball was. It's like that classic high school stuff where you follow the ball down the field, the whole team, and except for 4 players that were not following the ball. 4 players were standing off in the corner by themselves having their own conversation. I bet you can't guess who they were. Number 4, 98, 17, and 13. Number 4, 98, 17, and 13. The best leaders in the NFL weren't even hyped to hang out with their players at that preseason.
Yeah, I saw something interesting today, Mike. On NFL Network has training camp in Las Vegas, and they're showing them, and they're interviewing Hunter Renfrow, and then Davante Adams came up behind them and started talking, and Davante Adams told NFL Network that he can't hype up Hunter Renfrow. He goes, without talking too much about my own player, because we're not allowed to do that. And Hunter Renfrow goes, yeah, because Josh might be watching. So he said something about they're not allowed to hype up their own players in Raider camp. That was kind of interesting to me. I'm a Raider fan, but that's kind of interesting to me.
But they are allowed to send spies to other training camps. That's completely fine. We're cool.
And then the reporter today said, hey, the beat writer, I hate him anyways. His name's Tashawn Reed. I think he does a bad job of covering the Raiders.
Way to name drop.
Yeah, I'll put his name out there. He tweeted out, "Hey, I'm not going to have much highlights of the Raider camp today because they put us in a little corner of the end zone, and that's how the Raiders should be treating their beat writers."
Is Josh McDaniels going to just look like Bill Belichick in 10 years, where he's just pissed at everybody? Just leave me alone.
He'll have many rings on every finger.
Maybe if he goes to a different team.
Opinions on Tua?
He can either get a different team or a different quarterback. Both those things will help him get closer to getting another ring.
Derek Carr, look, Mike. Sorry, Tony, not to cut you off.
That's okay.
People hate on Derek Carr so much, but 2 seasons, 2016, if he would have stayed healthy and not broke his leg, he would have been the MVP that year. Last season, what was the hype at the beginning of the season? Derek Carr, MVP. Derek Carr, MVP, until all the stuff happened with Las Vegas. So Derek Carr has been MVP caliber and not getting hated on by so many people. Just wait till this year when he proves it.
Do you have like a brief stat prediction?
No.
Yeah, because you know that whatever you say is probably be lower than Justin Herbert.
It doesn't matter. Stats don't matter. It's the win total. When the Raiders are holding that trophy at the end of the year, does it matter if Derek Carr passed for 5,000 yards and Herbert passed for 53? No.
Okay. Tony, go ahead. You've been at the tip of your tongue for an hour.
Just because I was unaware. Max Crosby, does he celebrate QB pressures? Does he do the bow and arrow for just getting the pressure on the quarterback? Because the dude doesn't finish enough, Joe. So I'm glad he celebrates almost getting the job done.
And even if you talk about the QB pressures, the last 3 years, Joey Bosa still has more than them. And Khalil Mack.
I want to make fun of Joe. The other thing is, Joe, this is more Patriot way stuff that you can't be gushing about your teammates.
Okay. I told you I hate the Patriot way.
I know. And I'm just telling you, you won't be able to hide it. You'll be able to call it whatever nation, whatever you want to call it, but it's happening.
Damn it, that's what we didn't get to talk about, but okay.
We talk about the Chargers' history with choking, but we don't talk about the Raiders' history with trading for wide receivers. And we don't talk about the Raiders' history, I should say, we don't talk about the Patriot way's history at producing head coaches.
Crickets. I talked about it.
Anyways, I already zoned out because I'm mad that we didn't get to talk about something, but it's cool. Tonight is Hard Knocks and the Lions, and I want to watch that. And we're going to have to talk about that on another show.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. I didn't know it was tonight, too. That'll be fun. Lots of clips coming from that, I'm sure.
Dan Campbell, Jamal Williams. It's going to be fun.
You guys want to talk about Tua, or you want to wrap this thing?
Opinions on Tua? It's now or never. It's now or never. I think that Tua is going to have a good season, but I think it'll be just good enough to where if there is even an option to have another quarterback next season, I think they'll take it. Right? Because he's going to have to get in the playoffs and potentially at least come close to winning a football game there.
Hopefully the Chiefs send him Patrick Mahomes. I'm sure he's going to miss Tyreek after this year.
But he should be able to put up big numbers in that offense.
They're saying that he's gelling well with the receiver core and he's gelling well with the offense in general in camp, and he's doing actually pretty solid. So we shall see. You're probably onto something, Tony. I think he might have his best year of his career for sure if he stays healthy.
You're throwing quick screens to two of the fastest guys ever. Like, you should look good and you should be accurate doing that.
Mm-hmm. I like that take, though, from Omar. That's a good take, Omar.
You guys want to read that comment?
Derek Carr's like Tua?
No, the comment that's on the screen.
Why are all these Raiders fans flooding in here all of a sudden?
Because I'm live on TikTok, Tony. I'm live on TikTok.
Okay.
You know what I'm going to have to do? I'm going to have to give this away pretty soon. It's a Hunter Renfrow autograph card from an event that I went to. But Hunter Renfrow signed it when I met him. I'm going to have to give this away to a Raider fan out there.
Hunter Renfrow's balding.
We'll figure a way he is balding. That dude is balding. I ain't going to lie. So we'll
shave it off. Shave it off. I'm balding also, but I'm giving
Raider Nation, let's ride.
One last Hail Mary. All right, guys. Appreciate everyone for tuning in. Make sure you like the video. We haven't said that at all this entire time. We're terrible at being YouTubers, but make sure y'all like the video. It helps us out a ton in the algorithm and for future live streams. If you're not subscribed, especially if you're coming over from the TikTok page, all the stuff that I do and that we do over on TikTok, we do over here on YouTube, just on a bigger scale. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel. We're going to be talking about camp again here probably next week when there's more updates coming out. Hoping that everyone stays healthy through camp. It's kind of the biggest thing to watch right now. Tony, any last words? Any last comments?
No, great show. Thank you, everybody, for stopping in here. If you're new, please consider subscribing, liking the video. Great chat today.
Go ahead, Joe. Do the chant.
Red!